Most people spend their lives chasing a bigger paycheck, yet still end up feeling broke. Many households report financial strain even when earnings rise. Results vary by country. The real problem usually isn't how much you earn, it's how much quietly leaks away through lifestyle creep, hidden fees, and dollars, drifting without direction that could instead be automated into savings and low-cost investing. By the end of this video, you'll see how to create a simple, set and forget system that can realistically double your net worth depending on time, contributions, and market returns without the need to earn more. We'll lock in big savings, reduce fee drag, and let compounding work automatically. Once it's set, you'll only need to check in every quarter. This is shared purely for educational purposes and should not be taken as financial advice. The approach you're about to see is conservative, evidence-based, and rooted in straightforward math, with mainstream sources, no flashy gurus, no hype. It aligns with research on fees, indexing, and disciplined rebalancing. Here's the roadmap we'll follow. First, you'll build an automatic surplus by paying yourself first and then freely spending what remains. Second, you'll tackle the big rocks by restructuring your largest expenses: housing, transportation, food, and interest costs. Finally, you'll cut the fee drag, set up a simple allocation, and rebalance on a steady calendar. How to automatically keep the extra money. Wealth begins to grow not when you save what's left over, but when you save first and spend later. Imagine your take-home pay is $4,000 a month. On payday, you automatically move $800 or 20% trade into two buckets: high-yield cash for emergencies and long-term investments. That transfer happens by default automation, increases saving participation and amounts. This is reverse budgeting. You decide the savings number first, then let your lifestyle expand within what remains. Think of it as first dollar capture. Every dollar that enters your account gets a job the moment it arrives. Consider Anna, age 27, who brings home $3,600 a month. She sets up two auto transfers, $300 into an emergency fund and $420 into investments. She isn't trying to save, she simply forgets to spend. After 12 months, Anna has roughly $3,600 in a cash buffer and about $5,000 invested. These are illustrations, not promises. Investment totals vary with returns. If 20% feels too heavy, start smaller and raise it by periodic 1 to 2% steps. Complexity may look impressive, but simplicity is what truly compounds. Focus on the big rocks, not the small stuff. The biggest financial gains rarely come from cutting small pleasures like coffee. They come from restructuring the handful of expenses that dominate most budgets. In US data, housing is the largest share, with transportation and food also large. On a $4,000 monthly budget, trimming small categories often yields modest dollars. Example, 2% of total is $80, while negotiating your rent by 5 to 10% or moving to a place that's cheaper can free up far more. The exact savings depend on your base rent and market. Driving a used but reliable car instead of a new one can cut both the payment and the insurance bill in many markets. Bulk cooking lunches and tightening grocery spending can add more. Use the big rock jar. Place the big savings in first the essentials that make the most impact and let the smaller wins fill in the gaps. Consider Marco, 31, who pays $1,400 in rent. He negotiates renewal to $1,330 and accepts a commute just 10 minutes longer for cheaper parking, netting $120 a month. He then calls his insurance provider, raises the deductible to a reasonable level, and drops redundant coverage, netting another $40. By meal prepping 10 lunches instead of eating out, he pockets an extra $120. Altogether, Marco builds a new surplus of about $280 each month without earning a single extra dollar. Run a Big Four audit, yearly housing or mortgage, transportation and insurance, food and interest or fees. Always attack the largest line item first. The rest will follow. Don't mow the lawn when the house is on fire. Hidden fees and toxic debt. The winning formula is simple. Use a low-cost, broad index core and eliminate expensive debt. Low-cost matter example, a 1% annual fee on $50,000 is $500 per year versus $25 at 0.05%, and the gap compounds. Many broad market index funds charge around 0.03% today. Over time, most active funds lag their benchmarks after fees and taxes. Picture a leak-proof bucket. Consider Priya, 29, who carries $8,000 on a high-interest credit card. Instead of chasing new investments, she pauses contributions beyond any employer match, and uses the avalanche method targeting the highest rate balance first. She also asks her issuer for a lower APR. Outcomes vary. At the same time, she consolidates old 1% funds into a single low-cost, broad index in her retirement account. The result, less interest bleeding out, fewer fees draining silently, and more of her money compounding where it belongs. Don't chase last year's star fund or hot tips. Those often add turnover and taxes and end in regret. The most reliable edge is cutting costs you can control. Keep allocation simple, rebalance with calm. Decide how your money is divided, your asset allocation. Allocation explains much of the variability of portfolio returns and risk over time. Keep a steady mix and rebalance periodically to your targets. A long-term approach might be a 60-40 mix of stocks, bonds, short-term goals sit in cash. If stocks run hot from 60-40 to 70-30, sell a little stock and buy bonds to nudge back. Use guardrails. Dylan, 35, chooses 70-30, sets plus or minus 5% bands, and adds calendar reminders for June and December. Twice a year he checks, rebalances if needed, and moves on. No news alerts. No guessing. Calendar and/or threshold rebalancing are both reasonable. Annual or banded approaches are common. Your edge isn't timing, it's boredom and consistency. Raise extra cash without finding a new job. Raise effective take-home by removing friction and using tax-advantaged accounts. Country-specific rules apply. In the US, traditional 401k contributions reduce current taxable income. Roth accounts trade today's deduction for potentially tax-free qualified withdrawals later. Cancel unused subscriptions, shop utilities insurance annually, and set bill reminders to avoid late fees. Think net of friction. Sarah and Leo free up $200 a month by trimming subs and renegotiating a phone plan, then redirect it to retirement plus an employer match, where available, lifting their savings rate from 18% to 24%. That single shift accelerates long-term growth without a raise. Leaks creep back. Schedule a quarterly tune-up, renegotiate one bill, cancel one subscription, and check one fee. Over time, small wins stack up. Your toolkit works anywhere. Automation setup, 2 payday transfers, cash buffer, and investments. Clear labels. Automation drives participation, fee check routine, quarterly scan expense ratios and account fees. Tilt to broad, low-cost index exposure. Rebalancing calendar, choose 2 fixed dates or set plus or minus 5% bands. Adjust only when triggered. Big 4, cost audit annual housing, transportation insurance, food planning, and interest rates. Emergency fund ladder, target 3 to 6 months of essentials. Start with 1 month and build. Facing risks and realities. Volatility is normal. Reactions are the risk. Investors often underperform their own funds due to timing behavior gap. Sequence of returns risk the bad luck of drawing withdrawals during a downturn, can be buffered with a cash cushion and steady rebalancing. Response playbook. 1. Do nothing immediately. 2. Rebalance on schedule. 3. Keep your cash cushion intact. 4. Revisit goals annually. I often wonder, should I pay off debt before investing? The answer is yes, especially if it's high-interest debt like credit cards, which average around 21% in the US as of early 2025. The exception is if my employer offers a match, since that's essentially free money I shouldn't leave on the table. Another question I wrestle with is whether to invest a lump sum or spread it out through dollar cost averaging. Historically, lump sums have done better because markets tend to rise over time, but dollar cost averaging can help me manage my behavior and reduce regret if markets dip. Finally, I ask myself how big my emergency fund should be a crucial piece of financial security before I start taking bigger risks. A common US guideline is 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. Aim higher with volatile income or dependence. Here's the entire playbook in under 2 minutes. Set autosave on payday 10 to 20%, or start smaller and escalate. Build your cash buffer toward 3 to 6 months. Audit the biggest costs yearly and attack the largest line item first. For investing, use a low-cost index core, reduce bad debt, and cut hidden fees. Choose an allocation you'll keep, then rebalance on a calendar or within plus or minus 5% bands. Run a quarterly tune-up, renegotiate one bill, cancel one subscription, and check one fee. Drop your age plus a 1-line money goal in the comments. I'll reply with a 2-line tweak you can start this week. Getting richer doesn't demand a bigger paycheck, it demands a tighter system. Set it once, keep it steady, and let time do the heavy lifting.